Got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. Got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. Got to pump it up. Welcome back
to the CryptoCast
with
Lete
and Jason.
Hey.
Boom.
Boom.
So Lete is pissed.
I'm pissed off.
Tell me why you're pissed.
So this weekend was Super Bowl weekend.
Crazy.
Which a crazy, amazing weekend. I'm not upset about the weekend. It was a fun time. But I went to this crypto event for the Super Bowl with pro athletes. And that really made me upset.
I saw there was a lot of crypto stuff going on in the Super Bowl around LA, with everyone here and everything.
Which is amazing. I met so many crypto people.
Yeah,
and it was cool. But at this event, I realized how, I don't know if marginalized is the right word about women in crypto, but I realized that it wasn't an inviting space for women. And I feel like I already knew that, but I didn't realize to what extent. And I went to this event. There were people talking on the panel, and a woman, stood up. It was pro athletes on the panel, and then some guy who was the moderator. And she asked, how do we get more women in crypto? What about female athletes in crypto and creating NFTs and, possibly being paid in Bitcoin? And one of the guys answered, and his answer was, well, if we're talking about Web3, you can really be whatever you want to be. So sex doesn't even matter. Your gender doesn't even matter. And
as
he was saying this, I was like, my guy, this just went so far over your head. Like, you don't even have no idea. You have no idea what struggles, what anything is, because it really feels like it's a guy's game. When I talk to my girlfriends, they're like, I want to know, like, every one of them. I went to a Sports Illustrated event this weekend where it was with the Swimfluence app. So it was just all women networking event. And I was telling them what I was doing with this podcast. And everyone was like, I'm so interested. I don't know where to start. It's so intimidating. Everyone's using these big words I don't understand. And I look something up. And this is the same thing that happened to me, which is why, we started this podcast. I was explaining to you, I'm looking at this stuff on YouTube, and that's great, but I have so many questions.
Yeah. I mean, it really sucks because there's a lot of guys that really just want to hold power over people, right? I think it's kind of, I think it's a huge ego thing, and they don't want to help people, like, especially girls, it seems like, for whatever reason, they don't want to help girls get into this space. Like, they don't want to give them the step-by-step, the easy way to do it. And I mean,
I will say, I do think a lot of people do want to help and make a difference.
Yeah.
And I think some people just are not aware, which is why we're having this podcast right now about me being pissed.
Yeah.
Because another thing that was brought up at the end of this said panel I'm talking about was a woman said, hey, I really want to get into this crypto space. How do I learn more? I feel like I'm looking up stuff and I don't know where to start. This guy's response to her question about where do I start? Just research. It's easy. When you start researching, it's just really easy. Excuse me, sir.
That's so annoying.
Let's back up a second. She said
she doesn't know how.
She doesn't know how. She doesn't know where to go. We could say whiteboard crypto, like we've talked about. We can say, this pod. I don't know, stood up and I was like, listen to the CryptoCast. I'm right there with you, sister. I'm learning. But this guy said this, and him by saying it's easy is belittling her.
Yeah.
And it's also, it's not actually giving her any sound advice. It's saying, just start, you'll figure it out. Where I'm sure he went through a process where he found someone that he really liked and started listening to. Why didn't he recommend that person? Why was he being a gatekeeper?
Yeah, that's definitely, it is a pet peeve. A lot of people say do your own research, which is really good. But when it comes to somebody who's new and they're trying to get into this space, they don't know how to do their research. No. So yeah, they really are. A lot of people are gatekeeping like that.
If I didn't have you with this podcast, like just taking me step by step, I would still be lost. And at this event, I realized how knowledgeable I am. Like, I don't think I know that much about it, but I could have answered any of these people's questions. And I was amazed. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm learning more than I thought just from this podcast with Jason, just from having these conversations. And whoever's listening to this makes me so excited because you are also learning as I'm learning. Like, literally, we can create a different future for women or for people to not be intimidated in crypto. And that's why this is so important. Like, after leaving that conference, first off, my heart was pounding because of how pissed I was. And second off, I realized how valuable what we are doing is. No one is doing this. No one.
It's so hard to find.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate. I mean, people really aren't like breaking it down step by step. And one thing that you helped me with too is because I might have been that same way, whereas like I had to do all this crazy research and stuff like that on my own. And, it's like when people ask me, I try to help them and I try to tell them, but I don't realize like just how much goes into it and how many little steps there are to get you into the bigger area where, you can start doing research on your own and stuff like that. There's so much that goes into it. And it, honestly went over my head a little bit because, I studied like crazy, months and months, hours and hours of just endless studying that I didn't even know was going to be worth anything.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just like a bunch of that. And then now after, having some years of experience, it's like, wow, yeah, I forgot just how hard like that first initial step was. And so having you like ask me all these questions about how to exactly do it, I'm like, oh yeah, I can tell it. It's almost bringing me back to like the first part of my journey. It's really awesome to see.
Yeah. And I don't want to discredit any men in the space. Like, I think there are a lot of people that want to amplify the women's voice and want to push things forward and bring more women into this space. But I think some people are not looking at the bigger picture and not really understanding or putting themselves in other people's shoes. And it almost feels like the Black Lives Matter thing, to be honest. Like they don't realize that there is there's differences.
Exactly. And I don't like, if we want crypto evolve and we want crypto to go crazy and to the moon and everything like that, like we're going to have to teach new people how to do it, how to get on. So yeah, this, what we're doing is great and it's awesome. And it sucks to see people like that in the space. But you were saying you had another experience, right?
Oh dear Lord.
You had quite the weekend.
I've noticed that some people in the crypto space, they like act like they're big shots and they might make a lot of money from crypto, but you don't know if they're the ones that actually have the knowledge to make that money, or if their assistant or their manager is the one that's managing their money and actually making them wealthy.
Or if they're making any money at all.
Right. But some of these athletes, I'm going to refer back to the conference real quick, but some of them, I don't even know if they actually knew what to do in the crypto space or if somebody was pushing buttons for them. Exactly. And so they just had this almost false confidence behind what they were doing because they have money from decisions someone else made.
Yeah.
And another situation that happened this weekend, as I met so many people in the crypto space, like I said, and this one gentleman talked about a conference that's happening this week in Denver. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I'm going to have a power dinner with a bunch of people in the crypto space. We're going to be talking about stuff. I would love for you to join. I'm hosting the dinner. It's going to be, a great networking opportunity. And I'm always cautious when I meet people out about their intentions of seeing me again, because I've noticed that people don't necessarily want to help me in my career. They just want to get in my pants.
Yeah.
And it sucks. I don't want to go on a date for somebody to advance my career. I don't want to have any sexual or intimate relations with someone to advance my career. I actually don't want to date anybody in my career, preferably. I would like to date people outside of my career because I don't want that to get mixed and mingled. That's just me. That's just me. But I've found that when men specifically talk about how they can help me with my career, there always is something that they want from me.
They come at it with a certain angle, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I asked this guy, I was like, he asked for my number. And I said, if I give you my number, what will you do with it? I want to make sure I'm not giving it to you because you want to take me on a date or you want to meet up with me privately, because I will not do that. And he's like, no, I want to invite you to this dinner. So this dinner was happening. He gave me the first address and I was driving there. Everything is late in LA. We were supposed to meet at 8. So I was like, you know what? I'll get there at 8:20, which is still kind of early.
Yeah, still early.
It's like if someone tells you 8 in LA, they really mean, yes, 9. But my athlete instincts are like, I'm going to have to run if I'm late. Early. Yeah. So I'm driving there and they're like, oh, the place changed. Like, sorry, it's this place. It should only be 5 minutes away. I was like, oh, it's actually 25 minutes away. And they're like, oh, that's weird. Like, okay. And I got to the place and it was just this guy. And I was like, oh no. I was like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Wasted some time in the bathroom, came out, and he was like, oh, did you have trouble finding the place? I was like, no, it was just not close to the original place. He's, oh, my assistant, like I had just hired a new assistant and she's not doing well. I wonder if I should bring that up to her. Do you think I should tell her about that? And I was like, I mean, you can always say something nice, but he was like, oh no, I don't want to do that. I was like, okay. So we're waiting for other people. I'm like, are other people coming? Like, please, like have other people coming or else I'm going to leave.
And you were also saying that he was telling you that he had a whole crypto business, right?
Oh,
and he was making a ton of money, or he was projected to make.
Yes. So he made it sound like he was some guy that was really in the crypto space and held a lot of power. And it was almost like he was telling me about this Denver endeavor that's going on this week. And it almost seemed like, I'm going to invite you to this Denver thing, it kind of implying that like I have power to like bring whoever I want. And, we might, it sounded like, I was like, okay, in my head, I'm like, maybe he has a private jet. Like maybe he's going to bring all these people to dinner and we're all just going to go to Denver. Like, I don't know. I'm up for the ride though. Like, sure. So we get to this dinner, right? I'm talking with everybody. There's a wonderful, amazing woman who is actually his friend. And then everybody else he had just met this past weekend, which was a little bit weird to me that it was people that he had just met, considering he's so well connected.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, get whatever you want, buy whatever, like, order whatever you want. So I literally took the menu and I was like, is it okay if I order for the whole table? He's like, yeah, go ahead, do it. Everyone's like, yeah, whatever you want. So I'm like ordering everything for the table. And honestly, it's a little bit of pressure because, you in my head, I've done it before, but it's like, okay, I'm using someone else's money. I don't know how comfortable they are, but if someone says get whatever, I'm like, okay, there's no budget.
And they have a whole booming business.
Yeah, they have a whole booming business. It's something I don't worry about. I've been in those situations before. And it's just common.
Yeah.
And so I'm just ordering whatever sounds good, what I think people might like. And the dinner's about over. The bill comes. This guy looks at the bill, starts getting his calculator out.
Huge red flag.
Starts looking at everybody, and everybody's like looking down, like what's going on. And he said, oh, I didn't bring my wallet or my card. And we're all like, oh. And then the guys at the dinner were like, what's going on? He's like, hey, like you're gonna need to pay for this.
So he had a meeting with everyone and he forgot his wallet and all of his money.
Yes, but the weird thing was you could pay with Apple Pay.
Yeah.
And he had Apple Pay, but he kept using the excuse that he didn't have his card. And so one of the guys there that he wanted to do business with was like, yo, like, I'll give you $300 right here, but I'm not paying for the whole dinner. Like, you invited me so we could do business in the future. And this is saying a lot about your character. And this guy, it was weird. I just felt so uncomfortable. I went to the bathroom and I came back out. I was like, you know what, when I come back out, I'll see what the situation is. So I was the last one left. And this guy who invited everyone to the dinner was, I guess, picking up his things. And the waitress came up to me. She's like, hey, like, this is the rest of the bill. And it's, he told me to come tell you that this is what you owe. And I said, okay, what's the rest of the bill? $172. And I have $172. I have $700. I was honestly thinking like, this is such a joke. I'll just pay for it myself. But I was like, you know what? Back up. I'm not going to do that.
Don't let that guy win.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know these people. I'm not going to pay for this man who swindled me into this situation. And I was sitting there and I pulled out my credit card. He's, oh, you had a credit card this whole time? And incentivizing that I was going to pay for the whole dinner for everybody, or that I could have paid and like people were going to Venmo me. And he said, are you uncomfortable paying that? I said, I'm uncomfortable with this whole situation. You invited everybody as a networking opportunity. You acted like you were a big fish in a small pond. You said that you had all these career opportunities. And even at the dinner, he was like, what do you really want to do? I want to be a game show host down the line. I want to act. And I also want to be a game show host. I want to have my own show. And he was kind of incentivizing like, oh, I'm creating this network around crypto where it's going to have all these different avenues. And one thing that we're going to have is like a show with all these things. And like, I'm creating new shows and, like, if we stay in contact, I can create a show for you, which is such an LA thing. Men promising false things to attractive women.
Thing, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, when he started saying that, I was like, I don't know about this. I've had this happen before. This is a red flag in my mind.
Clicking. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And so he was like, I mean, that's not even that much money. Is that a big deal to you? And I said, the concept of what's happening right now is a big deal to me.
I mean, he has a business meeting. You cover everyone. That's what good business is.
Right. And so he said, well, like if it was a more expensive dinner, I would have paid for it. But I figured this is such a small amount that everyone can just pay for themselves.
Oh my God.
And there were also 10 people at this dinner. So I don't understand how I got left with the $172 tab. And I said, I'm not going to pay for this if this is such a small amount to you. And so he ended up paying for it, but it was just weird how he worded everything and how.
So he had money the entire time.
Well, I said, if this is a small amount, then why didn't you just pay for the whole bill? And he's like, well, just came up with excuses, and everyone was so upset and mad, and it was just left the situation awkward. And it made me feel like everything this man was portraying was a lie. I honestly was thinking of the Tinder swindler.
Yeah, when you told, I just watched the Tinder swindler last night, and then you texted me this morning that, and I was like, wait, what? My mind is blown. Like, I just watched something about, along those lines that happened, like a con artist and stuff. And it was just like, yeah, literally another stupid crypto con artist that's just makes a bad name for the space.
I agree. But I also want to give people hope though in this episode. There are amazing people. Yes. Like Jason, like you're amazing. Isaac, our guy behind the board, is amazing. Our boss is amazing. There's so many amazing people that are wanting other people to get involved in crypto and wanting to help people. But there is this side where people are trying to finesse other people. Mm-hmm. They're trying to lie about who they are. They're trying to lie about how much assets they have. They're trying to lie about how much they actually know by using big words and things that other people that are new do not understand. And do not fall for that. Like, do your own research or follow a source that is looking to help. There's also a girl last night was talking, I really want to get in the space. I'm so excited about your podcast. This makes me feel better about myself. This makes me feel more confident to enter the space because you're in the same boat I am. We're both learning together. And I told her, I was like, I'm not any better than you. Like, if you listen to the podcast, the most recent one, we're going to be as knowledgeable as each other, and I think it's important
there is a lot of good people
to know there is good.
Yeah.
You just need to know where to find it.
Exactly.
And we're not charging for this either. And this girl that I was talking to was talking about like, I don't know, like what to do. There's all these courses around crypto and all this stuff. And I'm like, wow, we really have a mine here. Like we have a gold mine where we're looking to help people authentically. We're not looking to make a buck off anybody listening to this. We're not sponsored right now. We're just doing this and exploring the avenues that it takes us. And I think that's really cool too. I mean, hopefully one day we can start monetizing, but that's not our goal right now. I think our main goal and my passion specifically is to help other people, especially women, because the amount of conversations I had this weekend was so eye-opening to this podcast and what this means for the world.
No, that's great. And it's great that you had, it's, shitty experience, but it's great that you had that experience and you're able to come back and express yourself on this podcast, because what you went through, a lot of people have gone through, and it is a thing in this space for sure. But like you're saying, there are good people, and like, my goal, I love crypto. I'm super passionate about it. And I just want it to continue to rise and get bigger, more highly adopted and everything like that. In order for that to happen, we have to help new people get in. And I'm not trying to make any money off anybody. I just want the whole crypto space to, get bigger and evolve. And in order for that to happen, we got to help people out.
Yeah. And to finish this up, there was also some guy that I was talking to about, what happened this weekend and how people don't understand that the disparity in crypto versus how many men are in it versus how many women. And this guy's like, that's not true. I was like, oh, it's not? Like, please correct me if I'm wrong, but everyone I've talked to that is a woman wants to learn more and is intimidated. Majority of them, sometimes there are women that I've been meeting at these events that are in crypto, but they're only at the crypto events. It's not outside of the crypto events. And he's like, there's tons of Asian women in it. And I was like, do you not just see what you said? You put a minority group and said that they're in it. I'm a white woman. I'm not Asian. Like, what about Black women? What about all these different ethnicities? Like, he was like, there's women, they're all Asian. And it made me realize like it's still not open to all women, or all women still haven't entered the space yet.
Yeah. And I mean, that's just false. Like, I'm in so many different discords, different projects, and it's literally 99% guys that are in there. Like there's very, very few women. It's very sad to see, but I think what we're doing right now is good. And I think we're going to be able to help a lot of women get into crypto because they deserve it just as much as everyone else. And it's hard, it's scary, but it's doable.
Also, I was thinking about the amount of money women could be making with crypto and NFTs specifically. My girlfriends that are in magazines and have, private accounts for their pictures and different things like that. I'm like, girl, you could be making money. Yeah. Like, you could be really honing in on the power that you have. And that's why this is so exciting. And the conversation that we had with Cam that's going to release soon about NFTs is really exciting.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge episode too, because he's really good at breaking everything down. And it's a great episode. Super excited.
So good. So
shout out Cam.
Shout out Cam. We're going to be pumping that episode because that was eye-opening to me for a lot of reasons.
Most definitely.
So yeah, that's why I was pissed about this weekend.
There you have it. Why Lete is pissed right now.
But I'm pissed, but also incredibly empowered to do something about it. Like I'm fired up.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You seem like it.
I am.
Let's go.
You can even tell. I'm like,
you gotta pump it up. Don't you know, pump it up.
You gotta pump it up. Hey, thank you for listening and watching the CryptoCast.
Nothing we say is financial advice.
Nothing is financial advice, just our own experiences, living life and striving to help you live your life a little bit more educated.
Yes. Yeah.
Make sure to write a review. 5 stars. If it's not 5 stars, leave it alone.
We accept 4.2 as well. I like 4.2 stars.
You little stoner. All right, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And as a reminder, this is not financial advice, but our own experiences and sharing them with you so we can learn together.